Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA on another rainy day in LA. So since we can't get cars out and shoot them, and we're not gonna go pounding through puddles anymore, burying others in pools of water, we started talking about it and realized we've shot some of the coolest Mopars on this planet without question. No accident that's standing, sitting, ready to go right behind me here is the Tantrum Charger from the guys at Speedcore. They built this car about 5 years ago. We did an episode on this car, I don't know, a year and a half or so ago. It's still by far one of my favorite Mopars. And I'm gonna point out a few things that I love about this. Number one, it is a full custom, ground up, so chassis, suspension, everything's been done on this car. When you look at the front, you can see it's carbon fiber. But talk about just pure artistic restraint as far as the design and the execution of it goes, is I love how this car is carbon, and then about here, it starts to fade away and it just fades to gloss, leaving you wondering kind of what's going on here. But the entire front end of this car, firewall forward, is all carbon fiber. Another one of my favorite things about this car is the power plant. And yes, I suppose it does take it away from being a pure Mopar. It's not a Hemi car, but the idea that on pump gas, this thing makes 1,350 horsepower. On race fuel, the ECU reads it, bumps it up to 1,650 horsepower. And it's all because of this. You got a 9-liter Mercury racing motor, which if that's not enough for you, you've also got two 94 mil turbos in here. Monster power. I mean, this thing, I can tell you this much, shifting from second to third gear and at about 4,300 RPMs, throw it into third, stand on it, spins the tires. My guess is at just about any pace on this car, if you're up in the 4,000 plus range on RPMs, you're gonna be spinning tires. Just an exceptional build from the guys at Speedcore. And this is the first car they ever produced. This was the car that kind of set the tone for what Speedcore was doing. Speaking of which, why don't we just go check out another radical Mopar from the Speedcore guys. This is another one we shot an episode on a while back. It's a Dodge Demon, but the guys at Speedcore will definitely let you know that 840 horsepower at the crank is nowhere near enough, and the weight of the car was wrong, so they've replaced the entire car with carbon fiber. Yes, every panel on this car that you see is carbon fiber, and with a few different things, a bigger supercharger, custom intake, E85. This car is now running 960 horsepower at the friggin' wheels. 960 horsepower at the wheels. Yes, it's brutal. This car at about 45 miles an hour, traction control on, giving it about 50% throttle input, spun the tires and kicked sideways. Wow. Total beast of a car, and as far as a modern car goes, absolutely love it. Just the sound alone of this thing is glorious, man. Absolutely love this one. And right here next to it is one of my personal favorite Mopars of all time. My pal Jamie bought this car. It's another one we shot. Yes, we've shot a lot of Mopars. Are we Mopar guys? I wouldn't say I'm Mopar or NoCar, but I'm definitely hardcore Mopar. This is a 1970 Roadrunner. Initially, it was a stunt double in Fast and Furious 4, the Letty roller car. My friend Jamie purchased it from the production and built it into what you see here. One of my absolute favorite parts about this car, besides it being extraordinary at every look, is when you pop the hood. I know they say size doesn't matter, but when you look at this, size kind of matters here, man. I'm going to give you a quick little education. There was a guy named Keith Black. Keith Black was a well-known engine builder building stuff for NHRA in the 60s and 70s, I believe into the 80s. The company still exists today, but this is a real deal Keith Black Cross Ram Hemi. The block is rated, because it was NHRA, even though it's an all aluminum block, it was rated to hold up to about 3,000, 4,000 horsepower. No, the car doesn't make that much. It makes about 750, I think the number is. Probably matched on torque. I can't remember the exact specs on it. But the look of this to me is extraordinary. The sound of it's incredible. And I personally got no issue with forced induction. Actually, big fan of forced induction, but there's nothing like a true NA car, an all-motor, power, torque car. This thing is an absolute beast, fully caged throughout, truly an extraordinary car. I know some of you guys too have made comments and griped about this hood, but this hood design is very functional. It's to feed air into the air cleaners. You got air cleaners on both sides with the dual carbs. It may not be the most beautiful thing, but I'm always willing to sacrifice a little form for function personally. And this car, and I actually like the hood, and I like that Jamie shaped this out of glass himself and put it on. He's not even a custom car builder, he's a production designer, and he built this entire car himself. Spectacular car, man. Some other Mopars that we've shown along the way, a couple of just my favorites. One that's just near and dear to my heart is one my brother Eric used to own. Now the guys at Chrome Cars in Germany own it. They bought the 1970 Cuda that my brother used to own. It was used at the very end of Fast and Furious 6, and then they created stunt doubles of that car for Fast and Furious 7 to be the Letty car. Absolutely one of my favorite muscle cars on the planet. It's beautiful, gloss black. The stance is just right on it. And it's what I love so much about that car and I miss is it's a simple build overall. It doesn't necessarily look like it, but it really is a simple build. It's another NA all-motor car making around 700, 725 horsepower and foot-pounds of torque. But that car is, every time you turn the key, it fires, it goes. It's an issue-free car, beautiful, and because of the Fast and Furious franchise, it's become a fairly famous one. And another one, which, by the way, it's our biggest viewed video ever with over 2 million views now and counting, which completely still blows my mind. This is a 1970 Dodge Challenger known as Havoc. And this car is a full one-off custom built by my friends in Australia, Rides by Cam. I absolutely love that it's a father and two sons that build all the cars together. This was a 2-year-long build project with a massive motor, massive Pro Charger. In that episode, I claimed it to be a 2,500 horsepower car and I was wrong. It's actually only making currently 1,500 horsepower. Only 1,500 horsepower. Hold up here. I know a bunch of you guys freaked out in that video. Can't believe you didn't drive the car, man. Can't believe you didn't drive the car, man. Can't believe you didn't drive the car, man. It has actually been driven. That weekend when they brought the car back from the show, Kyle had the pleasure and luck of going for a quick ride with them in it. But I know Rob, I know the Rides by Cam guys. You guys go look at any of their content, which I highly recommend. Easily look them up on Instagram or Facebook. They drive their cars and they drive their cars hard. This car, after it does the show circuit this year, before it gets sold, which it will be sold after it completes everything, you will see this car getting driven. You will see it smoking tires. I promise you. And if it doesn't, Actually, I take that back. I won't kick Rob's ass. He would definitely take me down. But I'll give him at least some grief for you. That, my friends, is Havoc Challenger. Another big standout to me is Steve Strope has done some incredible Mopars through the years, but one of my favorite cars that we shot of his is a 68 Charger. It's a bluish purple, I don't even know what you would call this color, with a red interior. The custom work on this thing will go past most of us because Steve's goal is to always make it look like it came that way. One of the best parts about that Charger is the interior. The center console, how he took from the earlier version of the Charger, 66, 7, and brought it into the 68 Charger. It looks like it should have been that way. 2 bucket seats in the rear instead of a bench going across. Absolutely one of my favorite cars on the planet, and the drive was wonderful. And yes, I was lucky enough to actually get to drive that car. All right, man, that is it for our Mopar episode. We will get back to our usual thing of driving and showing you cars that we've not shown you yet. But I felt like this would be a fun walk down of truly some of the greatest Mopars on the planet. So I hope you guys had fun in this episode. As always, man, thanks for hanging and watching and supporting what we do. I really, really do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.